Alright, ladies and gentlemen, next up is 5-1-HW0 quadratic formula. We're going to be practicing this guy. If you have any questions, just make sure you come to Extra Help and ask, or ask me during class. I'll be happy to help you out. But I'm going to walk you through the first couple problems. So hopefully that answers any questions you might have. So problem number 1. We have 2x squared plus 12x minus 16. Now this quadratic equation has everything on the left-hand side of the equal sign, nice and standard form, so it's nice and pretty. Awesome. Now, with that being said, we don't have to shift anything around. A is the number in front of the x squared. Our B is the value and the sign in the number in front of the x. And our C is the value negative 16 in this example. It's the constant there at the end. Now we're going to put these numbers into a formula called the quadratic formula. Send this to back. There we go. Which is this guy right here, the quadratic formula. This is minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So wherever it says b, I put b in. Wherever it says a, I put a in. And wherever it says c, I put c in. So minus b, so our b is positive 12, so I'm going to put a positive 12 right in there. Then this is b squared, so I put a 12 in there. Minus 4a, which is there. C, which is negative 16. All over 2a, which is 2 times 2. Now we're going to take this formula and we're going to put it into our graphing calculator. So I'm going to slide it up and out of the way so I could easily put it in. And easily see things. So let's bring up the graphing calculator. I'm going to clear it. Cool. So I got my graphing calculator right here. This is my screen. Nice and big. So what we're going to do, we're going to do open parentheses, because we're going to do the whole entire numerator. And then I'm going to do minus open parentheses, then put my 12 in. I'm going to first do the plus sign first, and then for the second one we're going to do the minus sign. So plus sign, second square root, parentheses 12 squared, minus parentheses 4 times 2 times negative 16. We're going to close them up. Then we're going to get on the outside and we're going to close up that guy. And then we're going to divide by, well, 2 times 2 is 4, so I'm going to divide by 4. My first answer is 1.123105. Okay, a whole bunch of gibberish. Let's see what that looks like as a fraction too. So I'm going to hit math, 1, enter. Oh, doesn't go out to any fraction. So I'm going to say 1.123 as our first one. 1.123. Alright, now I'm going to do the same thing. And I said I'm going to put the minus sign in. So it's going to be negative. Oop. So we parentheses, negative, close parentheses, 12. Now instead of minus, I'm going to do a minus sign out there. Second square root, 12 squared, minus parentheses 4. Put it on the outside, put it in our parentheses there, and divide by 4. Yeah, because 2 times 2 is 4. And we're going to get negative 7.123. Negative 7.123. Alright, these are our two answers for the quadratic formula. We got 1.123 and negative 7.123. That's our answers to number 1. Alright, let's do problem number 2. Problem number 2 says 3m squared minus 14 equals 0. Now this is missing the 0m. Well, anything times 0 is 0, but so we have to remember that b is equal to 0. So let's write this out here. Our a is equal to 3. Our b is equal to 0 because it's 0m. And our c is equal to negative 14. Once I got that, my a, b, and c, I'm going to get rid of that problem so it's a little bit easier to see. I use my quadratic formula, and I'm going to plug them in. Or write them in. It's minus b, so that's a minus 0, plus or minus b squared, well that's a 0, minus 4a, 3, our a is 3, and then c is negative 14. All over 2 times a, which is 3 in this example. Then we put it into our handy dandy calculator. I'll slide it up so I can show you the calculator. So we have open parentheses, negative 0 plus second square root, parentheses 0 squared, minus parentheses 4 times 3 times negative 14, and then I make sure I hit the right arrow key to get that one parentheses on the outside, and I divide by 6 because 2 times 3 is 6. And our first answer is 2.1602. So first one is 2.16, I believe, 02. 02. Yep, okay. I'm just going a couple to the right of the decimal, not too many. Then we also got to do the minus sign. So we do the same thing. Parentheses, negative 0, minus sign, second square root, parentheses 0, squared, minus 4 times 3 times negative 14 and divided by 6. And we're going to get negative 2.1602. Negative 2.1602. And that's our second answer for problem number 2. Obviously, these problems take a little while, so you just have to be patient with yourself. All right, next problem, problem number 3. We have 7a squared minus 1a minus 24. So I'm going to write out my a, b, and c. So a equals 7, b equals negative 1, and c equals negative 24. So I have my a, my b, and my c. I plug that into the quadratic formula. So we have negative b, so that's negative 1, goes inside these parentheses. And then b squared, so that would be negative 1 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 7, times c, which is negative 24. So I put negative 24 in for that parentheses, times 2 times a, which is 7. So that's where I place all the numbers for this problem. And then I'm going to put that into the graphing calculator. So parentheses for the numerator, negative, parentheses, negative 1. That's why I use those parentheses, because there's lots of negatives. Plus the square root, parentheses, negative 1, squared, minus parentheses 4 times 7 times negative 24. Close up and go outside the square root, I close that up, I do divided by 14. And we get an answer of 1.924. So 1.924. Now we're going to do the same thing but with the negative sign. And that's what I'm doing right here. So this plus sign, now I'm doing the negative sign. So for the two separate answers. And we get an answer of negative 1.781. And that's our second answer for problem number 3. Negative 1.781. Let's do one more together and then we can move forward here. Number 4, we have 11x squared minus 6x minus 16. So A equals 11, B equals negative 6, and C equals negative 16. We plug that into our quadratic formula. It's minus B, so our negative 6 goes in there. Our second negative 6 goes in there. It's minus 4 times A, which is 11, times C, which is negative 16. Make that a little smaller. All over 2 times A. So that's where I plug in all those numbers. And then we're going to put this into the graphing calculator. So, open parentheses for the numerator, then negative, open parentheses for the negative 6, then I close parentheses, then I do my plus sign first, second square root, parentheses, negative 6, close parentheses, squared, minus parentheses 4 times 11. And then you have negative 16 on the outside, and close that up. And divide by 2 times 11 is 22. So I put in 22. And we get an answer of 1.509. So our first answer is 1.509. And we got to put in our second answer. So do parentheses, negative 6, and then instead of plus sign, we do minus sign. Square root, negative 6 squared minus 4 times 11 and we're going to divide by 22. So we have negative 0.963. 37. And those are our two answers right there. All right, ladies and gents, if you have any questions, please come to Extra Help. I'll be happy to help you out. Or ask me during class. All right. Have yourself a wonderful night.